it holds me completely. Close to home, I cannot say. Close to home, feeling so far away. As I walk the road, there before me a shadow from another world where no other can follow. Carry me to my own, to where I can cross over, close to home.
Not an animated film. These actors did not just stand at a lectern and do a voice part, and then animators went off for the next 2 years and created the entire physicality of their performance.
The most exciting thing is, it is my performance. This thing walks and talks and acts like me. It's my interpretation.
Every nuance, every tiny bit of the performance that you see on the screen was created by the actors. They had to run, they had to leap, they had to fight, they had to do all the things that you see them doing in the film. And that's where the power of the performance comes from.
It's not just we're capturing emotion, we're trying to capture what's the intent of the actor.
Let's go!
What CGI technology does is it replaces prosthetics. Actors can now play any character that's designed in the computer without going through hours and hours of makeup. And what we get is their performance coming through the CGI character. Just like you would get Eric Stoltz's performance coming through in The Mask, you get Zoe Saldana's performance coming through in Neytiri.
You have a strong heart. No fear. But stupid. Ignorant like a child.
Performance captures a technique where you try to capture the performance of an actor and translate it to a digital character.
Prior to them even moving out into the performance capture world, we put the actors inside this giant sphere covered with lights, and we could photograph them and study their facial features and try to understand how to design their characters.
This is great.
And then you put an actor in a suit with markers on the suit.
We put you in a spatial volume.
Using a lot of cameras all around to record the motions of all the markers.
The computer is creating a real-time moving skeleton of you. From that skeleton, you now can drive a computer-generated character.
Performance capture is great for anything that can really be done by a human performer, including a lot of stunt work. Even some of the creatures on this film are at least roughed out in a performance capture stage. Jim was working with some of the performers to work out creature movements, in a sense, kind of puppeteering them.
We used the volume for everything. For the aerial scene, we made little wire models of the various aircraft, and then we just go out there and fly them around, like a couple of kids with a toy airplane.
In the computer, you would see a real-looking helicopter matching the motion of your action.
And that's how all this stuff starts, with an idea of action.
We've taken mocap and made it performance capture. You don't just want the motion, you want the emotion of somebody, and for that you need a performance.
The intent is to capture the entire performance of the talent. We're recording tons of high-definition reference from all these different angles so that we can really get those subtle nuances.
This or whatever. You know, this particular rig, different camera sensor and different lens, but this rig was used on Avatar.
Okay.
And I did a lot of handheld shots on Avatar.
And this was something that was created
for
that
the movie, yeah, exactly. I mean, we had been working on the Fusion camera system prior to that for about 7 years, and then the final configuration, you know, which this is, was made for the movie.
And now, whenever I see, like at CES, people were showing off 3D cameras, 3D camcorders, 3D everything, and it's always this side-by-side lens configuration.
It's a huge mistake. You see, they're making the same mistake that we made back, you know, 8, 9 years ago, which is, oh, I just put two cameras side by side and you've got it. Well, human vision works that way, but when you're watching a movie, it can't work that way, because you can't adjust the stereo space after it's baked into the image when it's been shot by the camera guys a year earlier or whatever. And it'll rip your eyes out of your head if you try to shoot everything with the two lenses side by side. So the beam splitter allows you to essentially have the two lenses go inside each other. you know, so that you can get that interocular distance down to a much smaller
Which means
distance.
you can decide where that 3D point is going to be, that focal point, how things are going to jump out.
Yeah, it's how much depth.
How much depth there's
Yeah,
gonna be.
right. It's how much depth. And by reducing the depth as you get closer to you know, a person, let's say in a close-up, it actually makes it watchable, which is the trick to doing smooth 3D for movies, where you have to cut from one thing to another, from a close-up to a wide shot, or back from a wide shot to a close-up. It all has to be, the stereo space has to be managed based on how far the camera is away from the subject.
Or else it'll be jarring, and then someone's getting vomit on the back of their head from the guy behind them in the theater.
Exactly, exactly.
So we have the camera on top, camera on bottom, and what other special hardware wizardry is going on here?
It's all made possible by this a 50-50 mirror. You know, it's like a trick mirror. It's called a beam splitter. And by moving, like this camera will move back and forth. I'm going to do it by hand here because this is not energized.
And Mr. Captain, please be careful. This is very expensive. You could
This is my baby.
Okay,
I get to do this. So if you, I don't know how well you can see this, but this camera's sliding back and forth. That adjusts your interocular distance of the two lenses. But it also can change angle as it's moving. It's got like it's you know, 2 degrees or 3 degrees of freedom here. And that allows you to control your convergence, which is, you know, where you're looking within the frame, where the sweet spot of the 3D is. And it's a 9-axis motion control system, silent, fast, and it weighs 28 pounds.
It's incredible. And both cameras have to be doing the same things in terms of zoom and focus and whatnot at the same time, right?
Exactly.
So you've got hardware to control that?
Yeah, so these lenses have to be, they're all driven by servos. The zoom, focus, iris, everything's driven by servos, and they have to be finely calibrated to each other, so they're doing exactly the same thing at the same time.
I held this thing for 5 seconds to tape the intro before the show.
Try shooting a movie with it.
I mean, did your camera guys just hate you by the end of this project?
I was the camera guy.
Did you? You really handheld this thing?
Yeah. I operated all the handheld shots. The only thing I didn't do was Steadicam, because Steadicam is you know, I have a great deal of respect for the art of Steadicam. So, you know,
I have a new deal of respect for you, sir, because I could not hold that thing for 15 seconds. That was quite the burden, as light as the rig is. So.
Well, the good thing about it is, as a director, you know, you don't have a choice. Once the camera's on your shoulder, you're going to do the scene. You got to go, right? Yeah, exactly.
And so you could take this rig, snap it off, throw it on your shoulder.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to do that? I can show you what it,
yeah,
show you
if you
what
don't
it looks
mind,
like. Need a little help here.
Hop on in, guys.
All right, so.
Hold the pit for us, ready?
Okay.
This is like indie pit crew stuff here.
All right.
All right.
So Nathan's going to snap on the shoulder pad. That's really just
Please don't end up on break.com. Everything that's happening. There you go. Okay, so that is it. Now you're
Now we don't have. Here's our grips. This is configured more or less the way it was on Avatar.
And you've got controls there for your fingers as well?
I've got you know, my zoom control is a thumb toggle over on this side, so I can set my focal length, my size, and you know, you can, you know, it's really nicely balanced.
Yeah.
You can tilt up, tilt down. If you tilt way down, then I'll usually go to that kind of.
And you'll grab it there?
Yeah.
This I feel like you're about to shoot a bolt of plasma at me, though. Like this is
everybody back.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody move.
So I mean, what grueling shoot day wise? What I mean, was there a particular take that was just damn near impossible to hold this camera and get it going?
You know, I think running with it is the hardest thing. You know, and there's a scene where Jake, or actually where the troopers are running down the ramp of the shuttle, and I was running down with them.